bank of goodwill. Why this parliament went into such attack is because we had not invested into this bank of goodwill. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the last point I would like to make is that even as we are onboarding our communication onto new platforms, let us be alive to the realities of the new world. Things called cyber crimes, cyber attacks, all these are realities that exist, have been named here. Kenya should also think about making its own Facebook, its own TikTok, its own Twitter, so that we own this content and we also own the platforms that exist, because we know the danger that there is in putting our information out there in platforms that we do not own. Parliament is capable of developing its own digital platform and digital.
You can have an additional 1 minute. Yes, so that
Mr. Speaker, you are very kind, and I do appreciate this. The point I was making is that information is power. We are in what is being referred to as the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution shall be fueled by data. And when you generate data, today data becomes a currency. So the data that we generate with the content that we are putting on these new online platforms should be content that we are able to manage from the beginning to the end. And that is why I request that beyond just onboarding onto international big tech platforms, Parliament should also consider building its own platforms that we can own, so that we can secure our information away from the people who have bad intents against this institution. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
MP for Limuru, John Kiragu. Please give the mic to the Honorable John Kiragu. Okay, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this report on enhancing reporting on broadcasting, and please, I need your help here. My good friend Alice is very close to me. I like to support this report on enhancing reporting of parliamentary business on online platforms. As I do so, Mr. Speaker, I make reference to the fact that the Constitution provides the public a right to the information or the proceedings that goes on in the National Assembly and also the Senate. As you are aware, at a time like this, we have been sharing the broadcasting between National Assembly and Senate in a shared platform through the Signet, but in limited area in Nairobi. But I know that there has been development, like my colleagues have said, and technology has changed. And since 2016, when we had a social media policy for this house, things have changed. Technology has changed. And it is about time that we realigned our social platforms in line with the technology that has so far developed. As my friends have mentioned, there has been TikTok, Facebook, the YouTube, and all these platforms have been used within the parliament and outside, but it is about time that we reviewed as to how we have been utilized. The numbers don't show that we have been utilizing the platforms that we have. If you look at the numbers in the YouTube, you find, Mr. Speaker, that we have not been actively involved. But I want to acknowledge the support that our committee of broadcasting and library service that has received when we were discussing this report, particularly from the ICT committee and the Parliamentary Service Commission, the personnel from Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, who are contracted proceedings of this house. Their contribution really helped us to put up some specific recommendations. And these recommendations, Mr. Speaker, are directed to making sure that we align this parliament with other parliaments in the world, that we cannot afford to be left behind in matter of disseminating information to the public. And Mr. Speaker, we also noted that people know about what happens in Parliament by the covering they get, particularly on plenary sessions. But, Mr. Speaker, you know a lot happens within the committees, and they are not covered adequately. We know that the activities of members of Parliament are not only restricted within the premises of the Parliament, that each one of us has an office out there in our constituencies. And these constituencies also carry parliamentary duties, whether we are giving bursaries or providing services to our people. So we are providing guidelines to make sure that whatever happens on our constituencies, it is also covered. And for that reason, that's why we are calling for a review of the social media policy. But quickly, Mr. Speaker, we are saying that we need to review quickly on our social media policy within 6 months, that we need to review our website to make sure that we align it with the activities that we have. And this, we are giving it some 3 months. We develop guidelines, packaging and of the content, and within 6 months, review parliamentary social media.
Limuru, proceed. I'm giving you an additional.
And that we can have a social policy to include provisions of publishing members of parliament information to make sure that within 6 months that we can adopt a reviewed report. Mr. Speaker, we can develop guidance for the designation of one staff in our constituency among the existing staff to make sure that the content that comes from the constituency and it is transmitted to Parliament is one that is not fake, that it is traceable, and that we have somebody qualified to carry that responsibility. We can ensure that the Media Relations Department provides a structure for media coverage and verification. And this, Mr. Speaker, we think that we can also do it within a very short time. I want to say and emphasize what has been said. We must allocate resources to ensure that all the things that will be necessary to enhance the social media platforms are funded adequately. Mr. Speaker, you know, even with the gadgets that are here, not all of them are working when we need them to work. And I think it's so important for us to make sure that resources are provided so that we can support the platforms that we have, and we make sure that as a country and as a parliament, that we cannot afford to be left behind by the rest of the other parliaments around the world. I thank you.
Well, there being no interest, and I will call upon the mover to reply. Where is the chair for the...
I'm here, Speaker.
Where are you? Oh, yeah,
I am
way
here,
back
Speaker,
there.
and...
Honorable Nanok.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed now, and you will reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to reply to this motion. But, Speaker, allow me to donate some of my time to one of my members here who wants to speak to the motion. Kindly, if you can allow that, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, yes. I mean,
I give
it's just that we did not have any registered interest in here.
Mheshimiwa George Gachagua.
Proceed, Honorable
Next to
Gachagua.
me here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this motion, Mr. Speaker, considering that our Constitution, Article 118, requires the Parliament to conduct its activities in the open. And I believe that this will promote transparency in all our deliberations. Mr. Speaker, the online platforms will enhance visibility of the works being done by the members of Parliament, inside Parliament, and in the committee meetings. Mr. Speaker, the online platforms will capture a lot of attention from many Kenyans, and I believe that once it is undertaken, a lot of Kenyans will be in a position to actually even comment on what we shall be doing here. It will also enhance public participation, because it has been realized that most Kenyans don't know maybe what goes on inside here. But through online platforms, I believe that we'll be in a position to let Kenyans know what we do here in Parliament, and many questions will be answered through these social platforms. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Do you still wish to donate some more minutes to any other colleague? Okay, proceed now and move on and do reply now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And from the onset, Speaker, I wish to register my appreciation and gratitude to the members of the House who have spoken in support of this motion, seeing how important this motion is to this House or to Parliament generally. Mr. Speaker, the members have pointed out the contribution that this motion can make in terms of improving the visibility of this House, the public participation enhancement that will be seen in the public if this House can adopt or will adopt this motion. And Mr. Speaker, some of the members, of course, one of the members who has contributed here today, of course, has cautioned us on the question of the cost of upgrading the online infrastructure in Parliament. And the same, of course, has also been rebutted by the importance of investing in this infrastructure. And Parliament of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, is in a position and is able to plan for this online infrastructure in a staggered manner so as to achieve the intended goal. Mr. Speaker, the world of technology is moving very fast. This has been observed in communication, and therefore we cannot afford to be left behind, and therefore we have to move along with the current technological improvements as a Parliament. And most importantly, Mr. Speaker, online platform reporting, Mr. Speaker, will give us the platform to say our own story as Parliament. And this is the gist of this report. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I do not want to belabor the points that the members have made here in support of the motion, and therefore would ask that this House supports this motion so that we can move on with what needs to be done to help us improve our online reporting. I want to thank you, and I move.
The question will not be put today. The chair directs that we will find an appropriate time when the question is going to be put. For now, it's deferred. Next order.
Order number 10, motion, report on the consolidated fund services expenditures for the supplementary estimates 1 for the financial year 2024-2025, resumption of debate.
I don't see any interest. I'm looking at my screen here. Beatrice, is this an old request you made or you intend to contribute on the, it's old? Okay, under the circumstances, we'll have to call on the mover to reply. Where is the mover? Is he in the house? Is the mover in the house? So then, next order. This is also now deferred to another date. The next order.
Order number 11, motion, public petition on funds spent contrary to the provisions of Article 223 of the Constitution. Resumption of debate.